This miniature was prepared with an airbrush, first primed with Vallejo's matte black, followed by a zenithal spray of white ink. Once at my desk and under a brighter light, I found the white was more of a gray and that I wanted it to be brighter so that the speed paints I planned on using would show better. I could have went back to my airbrush to brighten this, but I decided instead to add small hatching lines instead, as this would help sell this as fine fur. It's October, and for the last few years I've been painting only monstrous things for the entire month, so I thought I would continue that sentiment and take it a step further, picking a theme to carry until the end of the month. So I chose something that scares the crap out of me: spiders. Where I live, we have plenty that run across here on the farm. Black widows, brown recluse, wolf spiders, house spiders, trapdoor spiders, orb weavers, and now the Joro. Thanks Japan for that last one. The best part is almost half of those could potentially kill you. Oh wait, that's not good. Because I'm using Liquitex paints, which have some opacity to them, I know that I'll want a second application of this white grisaille style underpainting. However, since I'm trying to add texture for an illusion of hair, I swapped to a heavy body acrylic. I've kinda wish I did this on the first white brush layer, but I didn't think about it at the time. The heavy body acrylic is unthinned and thick. I try to make this second application of white fit with the boundaries of the first, but ensuring that I leave some of the first layer uncovered. And here's where I get a little crazy. The eyes were very small and I wanted them to be bigger, so I tried to drill them out entirely, and I'll come back to this. But I also considered a moment zombie spiders with the eyes having rotted out, or spiders that a crazed wizard had stolen the eyes for his spell components. And now they send a band of adventurers to retrieve more, but it's filled with hordes of the blinded and now starving spiders who attack anything moving nearby, including each other. I'm going for a wolf spider look as they are common here in my home in Georgia. Go dogs. So I start with a light brown speed paint, thin 1:1 with speed paint medium, and I apply this to the entire body. Immediately after, I swap to a darker red-brown, also thinned with equal parts speed paint medium, and then I apply this in areas to start establishing the color pattern. Note how the hatching lines from the white paint is still plainly visible. And again immediately after that, I swap to black speed paint, this one unthinned, and I add this as small splotches to finish the pattern. And while the two previous speed paints took a few minutes to apply, this last one takes quite a long time, as I chose to do two small parallel bands on each leg near where it meets the body, which is also the hardest place to get to with the brush. I take my time and I work carefully so not as to accidentally get this speed paint on parts of the body that I don't want it. I then can add it to the abdomen, head, fangs, tips of the legs with little stress. To allow the speed paint a few extra minutes to dry, I move to the base and finish it off. I didn't really plan on anything special for the base, as I imagined it as a cave floor, so the texture paste and airbrush work handled most of the heavy lifting already. All I did was hit it with a black wash, followed by a stippling highlight and a dry brush highlight of increasingly brighter gray tones. To finish off painting the body, I just added smaller hatching lines of a similar tone within the three colors of the pattern. I added raw sienna over the brown areas, and off-white or ivory white over the light khaki areas, and these would act as highlights over these sections, covering about 30 to 40% of the surface. For the black parts of the pattern, I used a deep matte black acrylic that is darker than the black speed paint, so this would almost be more of a shadow, though I painted it as if it were a highlight in the same finer hatching lines. I use this same black to dot in the eye holes that I drilled out, and I let it fully dry before I aim to finish the eyes. My plan is to glue small plastic beads into the sockets. I straight up stole this idea after watching Jay from Eons of Battle, where he did something similar to add studs to the leg armor of a Carcharodon Space Marine. Spoiler alert, it does not work for me, the same way I imagined, and I knew this immediately after attaching the first eye. However, I like my videos to be more of a here's what I did and here's what I liked and what definitely did not work out, versus it being a tutorial. So I go whole hog and push forward anyway. After a lot of cursing, I managed to finally glue in all the plastic beads. I then black out the base and I call it a night. This is the final result. I'm really happy with how the body came out, especially with how little effort I put into it. The two slowest parts were the grisaille underpainting of the white hatching lines for the highlights, and the painting of the black bands on the legs. Everything else went pretty quickly, even the difficult gluing of the plastic beads that are so small that they're hard to pick up, let alone glue in place. All in all, from unboxing to making the final stroke with my brush, it took less than 2 hours. For lessons learned, the glass bead look did not come out as good as I was hoping for several reasons. First, they're too big and it makes them look like they have giant googly eyes. Second, and I didn't realize this until I was done, that the plastic beads are different colors. I assumed they were all the same color and just reflected light differently due to the stuff around my desk. But no. If I had realized this and made sure to hunt down the same colors, it may have come out a little better. Also, after editing this and really looking at the footage, I need to go back in and add a little matte varnish around the eyes on the body, where the super glue that got on it has created a glossy reflection. And finally, I regret doing a plain cave floor. I did it for a reason that'll become apparent later this month, but since I wanted them to be like wolf spiders, they would be better suited in a woody, grassy, and bushy environment. Wolf spiders can't weave webs, and they hunt as ambush predators, so dense foliage would be necessary for such large horrors. And that'll bring this video to its inevitable end. I hope you learned something or were inspired to start or expand your own collection of creepy crawlies. Or maybe you have an idea for using the plastic beads that's better than what I did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and if you like the content of this video and would like to see more, you can support this channel by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I'm Jim with Working with Miniatures. I'm truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next video.